Behold, the savage beast with the pointed tail that crosses mountains and pierces walls in armor. Behold, the polluter of the whole world. So my guide began to speak to me and beckoned to him to land near the end of our rocky path. And that vile image of frog came on and grounded his head and chest, but did not lift his tail onto the cliff. His face was the face of an honest man. It had so benign an outward aspect, all the rest was a serpent's body. Both arms were covered with hair to the armpits. The back and chest and both flanks were adorned with knots and circles. Tartars or Turks never make cloths with more color, background, and embroidery. Nor did Arachne spread such webs on her loom. As boats rest on the shore, part in water and part in land, and as the beaver among the guzzling Germans, readies himself for a fight. So that worst of savage creatures lay on the cliff that surrounds the great sand with stone. The whole of his tail darted into space, twisting the venomous fork upward that arms at the tip like a scorpion. My God said, "Now we must direct our path somewhat toward the malevolent beast that rests there." Then we went down on the right and took 10 steps toward the edge so we could fully avoid the sand and flame. And we reached him. I saw people sitting near the empty space, a little further away on the ground. Here a master said, "Go and see the state of him, so that you may take away a complete knowledge of this round. Talk briefly with them, and I will speak with this creature until you return, so that he might carry us on his strong shoulders." So still on the extreme edge of the seventh circle, I went all alone to where the sad crew were seated. Their grief was gushing from their eyes. They kept flicking away the flames and sometimes the burning dust from this side or that, with their hands no differently than dogs do in summer, now with their muzzle, now with their paws, when they are bitten by fleas or gnats or horseflies. When I sat my eyes on the faces of several of them on whom the grievous fire falls, I did not recognize any. But I saw that a pouch hung from the neck of each that had a certain color and a certain seal, that it seemed their eye was feeding on it. And as I came among them looking, I saw a golden yellow purse and an azure seal that had the look and attitude of a lion. And then my gaze continuing on its path, I saw another, red as blood, showing a goose whiter than butter. And one who had his white purse stamped with an azure pregnant sow said to me, "What are you doing in this pit? Now go away, and since you are still alive, know that my neighbor Vitaliano will come to sit here on my left. I, a Paduan, am with these Florentines. Many times they deafen my ears shouting, 'Let the noble knight come who will carry the purse with 3 eagle beaks.'" Then he distorted his mouth and thrust his tongue out like an ox licking its nose. And I, dreading lest a longer stay might anger him, who had warned me to make a brief stay, turned back from those weary stares. I found my guide, who had already mounted the flank of the savage creature, and said to me, "Be firm and brave. Now we must descend by these means of these stairs. You climb in front. I wish to be in the center so that my tail may not harm you." Like a man whose fit of the courting fever is so near that his nails are already pallid and the shakes all over by keeping in the shade. So I became when these words were said. But his reproof roused shame in me, which makes the servant brave in the presence of a worthy master. I set myself on his vast shoulders. I wished to say, "See that you clasp me tight," but my voice did not come out as I intended. He who helps me in other difficulties at other times embraced me. As soon as I mounted, I held me upright. And then he said, "Now move, Geryon. Make large circles and let your descent be gentle. Think of the unusual bearing that you carry." And as a little boat goes backward from its mooring, so the monster left the cliff. And when he felt sure of himself quite free, he turned his tail around to where his chest had been, and stretching, flicked it like an eel, and gathering the air towards him with his paws. I do not believe the fear was greater than when Phaethon slipped the reins and the sky was scorched, as it appears to be. Or when poor Icarus felt the feathers melt from his arms as the wax was heated. And his father, Daedalus, cried, "You are going the wrong way," as mine was when I saw myself surrounded by air on all sides, and saw everything vanishing except the savage beast. He goes down, swimming slowly. Wheels and falls, but I did not see it except by the wind on my face and from below. Already I've heard the cataract on my right made a terrible roaring underneath us, at which I stretched my neck out with my gaze down toward. Then I was more afraid to dismount because I saw flyers and heard moaning, so that I cowered, trembling all over, and I saw what I had not seen before, our circling around through the great evils that drew close on every side, as the falcon that has longed on the wind, then on the wing descends wearily, without seeing bird or lure, making the falconer cry, "Alas, you stoop!" and settles far from his master, disdainful and sullen. So Geryon set us down to the base, close to the foot of the fractured rock, and believed that our weight shot off like an arrow from the bow.